Greetings to you, dear viewers of The Pioneer, from a new day and a new report. I wish you all a happy and a healthy day. We continue to bring the Russia-Ukraine war to your screens. This is really a job worth doing because it is a real pleasure for me to be here together with you. Despite all the false news and allegations in the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine, the Ukrainian armed forces still continue to resist the Russian occupation units with great determination. We will also talk about the map report in a moment. As we mentioned in our previous report, there is an intense mobility across the front line. I know you have some questions. For example, many of you are wondering why this mobility has not caused a change in the borderline. We have already stated this before. Ukrainian defense at the attack points of the Russian army is very strong. At the attack points of the Ukrainian army, it is claimed that there is no progress yet due to the intense air opposition. So, what is the latest situation on the front line? Let's take a look together. As the Pioneer team, we continue to bring you developments regarding the Russia-Ukraine war. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications as you know not to miss our daily map reports and reports on the agenda. You can also support me and my team by using the super thanks button below the video. Let's start if you are ready. The Pioneer reports. Let's start our report by analyzing the latest developments on the Kherson front line. According to the latest reports, the counter-clashes that started some time ago on the Kherson front line in the direction of Krynki continue unabated. You can see the Krynki area on the map. It is very important that the Ukrainian forces remain here. The longer the Ukrainian armed forces can defend their positions here, the better. We also mentioned this in our previous report. Ukrainian armed forces are carrying out engineering works to improve the fortifications here. Therefore, in a sense, it would not be wrong to say that the Ukrainian troops have ensured permanence here. As you know, Ukrainian Marines are on duty in the Krynki direction. Indeed, these Marines have proved to be quite successful. With a limited number of long-range weapons of the Russian armed forces, Ukrainian Marines are hitting Russian Marines with heavy attacks. However, the Ukrainian Marines are still largely in control of the area and their positions. No Ukrainian positions have yet been captured or completely destroyed by the Russian army in the region. Russian artillery has been active in the area in recent days. However, as you can see from what had just happened in Krynki, this still does not affect the situation in the region. We see that the Russian artillery units carry out light impact artillery attacks in some areas. However, the Russian army has not been able to achieve any gains with these attacks. Let's continue with the artillery activity in the region. According to the latest reports, artillery units of the Russian armed forces targeted positions of the Ukrainian armed forces in Vetenskoye, Kherson, Antoniivka, Poitanivka, and Teganivka. In turn, artillery units of the Ukrainian armed forces targeted units of Russian armed forces stations in Olopristan, Oleshki, Poima, Pechenivka, Podstepnoe, and Cossack camps. Let us continue by analyzing the latest developments on the Zaporizhia front line. Activity continues in the Rovodny section of the Zaporizhia front line. According to the latest reports, the Russian armed forces together launched counter-offensive operations southwest of Rovodny. As we have stated in our many previous reports, of course, Ukrainian resistance is quite strong in these regions, so Russian attacks were largely repelled. And there are no border changes around the town of Rovodny. Russian troops also launched a counterattack in the Verbo, where the Ukrainian armed forces have been under pressure for a long time. Here too, the Ukrainian armed forces carry out a successful defense and stopped the Russian attacks. The aim of the Russian army here is to prevent the Ukrainian army from moving in the designated areas. However, Ukrainian troops seems to have foiled this plan of the Russian army for now. Let's continue by mentioning the artillery activities in the region. According to the latest reports, Russian artillery units targeted Ukrainian armed forces units stations in Plavny, Kamenskoye, Stepnoe, Malay Sherbyaki, and Novodanilovka. On the other hand, artillery units of the Ukrainian armed forces responded by hitting targets of the Russian armed forces deployed in the direction of Zherobyanki, Konovalovka, Nesteryanka, Kopani, Novoprokopivka, and Verbov. Let's continue with the latest developments in the Vuhledar sector of the Zaporizhia front line. According to the latest reports, the infantry of the Russian armed forces, supported by artillery, carried out a series of offensive operations in the Oglendriatsky section, while Russian troops, Zolota-Niva, supported by artillery, carried out a series of offensive operations. However, there are no results. Russian troops were successfully repulsed by the Ukrainian troops. We can say that a similar situation exists in the entire Vuhledar sector. However, the counter-conflicts do not lead to any changes. Only routine offensives activities continue. Let's take a look at the artillery activity in the area. Yes, according to the latest reports, artillery units of the Russian armed forces targeted positions of the Ukrainian armed forces in Rivnopol, Ostromayorsk, Yorkhain, Pechenivskoye, and Vuhledar. Artillery units of the Ukrainian armed forces hit the Russian army in Priyotny, Zavetnebozhania, Novodonetsk, and Pavlovka. Let's continue by analyzing the latest developments on the Donetsk front line. According to the latest reports, on the Donetsk front line, there is a fierce counter-battle in Marinka. Troops of the Ukrainian armed forces are not leaving the destroyed city. There is still a very strong Ukrainian resistance in the region. It seems that this resistance cannot be broken in a long time. The Russian armed forces also launched an offensive near the town of Krasnogorovka after the shelling. Within the scope of these offensive operations, we see that the Russian troops are also trying to advance in the Pervomskoye region. However, there is no border change. Indeed, the Ukrainian defense in this region are prepared quite strongly. Despite all their efforts, Russian troops still cannot break through the Ukrainian defenses. In addition, the Russian armed forces continued their offensives with the support of long-range weapons in the direction of Donetskoye in the industrial zone southeast of Severnoye Avdiivka near the coke factory northeast of the city and the Stepnoe. All offensive efforts of the Russian army were repulsed by the Ukrainian army. Let us continue with the artillery activity in the region. According to the latest reports, Russian artillery units targeted Ukrainian positions in the direction of Avdiivka, Severny, Permaivsky, Nevelsky, Krasnohorivka, and Natalyov. On the other hand, artillery units of the Ukrainian armed forces hit Russian troops stations in Stromykhalivka, Valiotny, Pitsky, Opitny, Vasily, and Spartak. What do you think? Do you think the Ukrainian army will be able to advance on the Kherson front line? How do you assess the Ukrainian lines in the region? Do you think the Ukrainian defenses on the Donetsk front line will be able to hold out longer? Do you think the Ukrainian defenses on the Donetsk front line will be able to hold out longer? How do you assess the border line in the region? Let me know in the comments. I read and care about all your comments.